The mountain air was supposed to heal us, but instead it breathed life into my darkest, nightmarish discovery about my wife.
They say that the air in the Blue Ridge Mountains is supposed to be medicinal. People go up there to find themselves, to breathe, and to escape the noise of the suburbs. My wife, Elena, said she needed exactly that. A digital detox, she called it. 5 days in a secluded cabin, just her, a notebook, and the sound of the wind through the pines. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? My name is David. I am 48 years old, and for 22 of those years, I thought I was the luckiest man in Virginia. I am a contractor, a guy who builds things to last. I take pride in solid foundations and sturdy beams. I thought my marriage was the sturdiest thing I'd ever built. We have 2 kids. Leo, who is 17, and mostly communicates in grunts and eye rolls these days, and Maya, who is 12, and still thinks that her dad is a bit of a superhero. That Tuesday, when Elena packed her bags, she looked tired. She kissed me on the cheek and said, "David, I just need to reset. Work has been a pressure cooker, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'll be back Sunday, and I'll be a whole new woman." I hugged her tight. I told her I'd handle everything at home. "Go," I said. "Breathe, relax. We'll be right here when you get back." The first 2 days were quiet, too quiet. The house felt empty. Even with the kids there was this heavy silence where Elena's laughter usually was. On Thursday evening, I was making spaghetti for the kids, and Maya looked at her plate and sighed. "I wish Mom was here," she said. "She loves your spicy sauce." Leo looked up from his phone, his expression softening just a fraction. "Yeah," he muttered. "It's weirdly quiet without her, yelling at me to clean my room." And that was when the thunderbolt hit me. That's what I call it now. That sudden, impulsive, terrible idea. What if I started, a smile spreading across my face? We went to see her. Maya's eyes went wide. To the cabin. But she said she wanted to be alone, Dad. "I know," I said, feeling that rush of super dad energy. "But it's been 3 days. We could pack a picnic, bring those fancy lilies she loves, and just show up. We'll have a sunset dinner, and then we'll drive back. A total surprise, a little reminder that she's missed." Even Leo, the cynical teenager, seemed to buy in. "It's a 3-hour drive," he said, checking his watch. "If we leave after school tomorrow, we'd get there right as the sun is setting. It could be cool." I spent all of Friday morning like a man possessed. I went to the florist and bought the biggest bouquet of white lilies I could find. I went to the specialty market and got the expensive cheeses and the wine she likes. I was so proud of myself. I was the best husband in the world, right? I was the guy who went the extra mile. We picked the kids up from school, the car packed with blankets and snacks. The drive up was beautiful. The leaves were just starting to turn, splashes of orange and red against the deep green of the mountains. We were singing along to the radio, Maya telling stories about her dance class, Leo actually participating. It felt like the perfect family moment. As we got closer to the Silver Lake area, the roads got narrower, gravel crunched under the tires. The GPS signal started to flicker. "Almost there," I told them, my heart thumping with excitement. Imagine her face. She's going to be so shocked. We turned onto the long, winding driveway of the cabin. It was a beautiful place. Cedar siding, a wraparound porch tucked away behind a thicket of old-growth oaks. "There's her car," Maya whispered, pointing to Elena's SUV parked near the side. But then I saw it. Parked right next to her car was a silver Audi. A small cold knot formed in the pit of my stomach. Maybe the owners were there. No. She'd rented the whole place. Maybe it was a neighbor. "Who's that, Dad?" Leo asked, his voice losing that relaxed teenage edge. "I don't know, buddy," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Probably just someone stopping by for directions. Stay in the car for a second, okay? Let me just check it out first." I grabbed the lilies. I don't know why. Maybe I thought they'd be a shield. I walked up the wooden steps, my boots sounding like thunderclaps in the mountain quiet. The porch light wasn't on, even though it was getting dark. I didn't knock. I wanted it to be a true surprise. I had the key code. She'd texted it to me in case of emergency. I punched in the numbers 1984. The lock clicked. I pushed the door open slowly. Surprise! I was going to shout. The word was right there on the tip of my tongue. But the words, they died in my throat. The living room was dim, lit only by the flickering orange glow of the fireplace. There were 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. A man's jacket, an expensive-looking leather one, was draped over the back of our favorite armchair. And then I heard the laughter. It was Elena's laugh. That low, melodic sound I'd loved for 2 decades, but it was followed by a man's voice, a voice that was not mine. "You're terrible," she whispered. I stood there in the entryway, the lilies trembling in my hand. I felt like I was evaporating, like the floor was made of glass, and it was about to shatter. I walked toward the hallway. Each step felt like I was moving through molasses. I reached the bedroom door. It was cracked open just an inch. I looked, and my world, the solid, sturdy world I'd built, it didn't just break, it disintegrated. I saw her. I saw my wife. And I saw a man I recognized from her office, a younger guy, maybe 35, Marcus. They weren't writing. They weren't detoxing. I didn't scream. I didn't rush in. I just stood there. The silence in my head was louder than any noise I could have made. Then I felt a presence behind me. I turned, and my heart stopped. It was Leo. He'd gotten out of the car. He'd followed me. He was standing 3 feet away, his face pale, his eyes fixed on that crack in the door. He'd seen. The look on my son's face. It will haunt me until the day I die. It wasn't just sadness. It was the death of his childhood. It was the moment he realized that the people he trusted most could be monsters. "Dad," he whispered. The sound of his voice must have reached them. The movement in the room stopped. I pushed the door open all the way. Elena jumped. She scrambled for the covers, her face shifting from terror to shock, to something that looked like annoyance. "David," she gasped. What are you doing here?" I didn't look at Marcus. I couldn't. If I looked at him, I think I would have killed him. I looked only at her. "We brought you lilies," I said. My voice sounded like it was coming from the bottom of a well. I let the bouquet fall to the floor, the white petals scattered, looking like snow in the firelight. "The kids," I said, my voice cracking. "The kids are here, Elena." The color drained from her face. She looked past me and saw Leo. "Leo, baby, wait!" She started reaching out a hand. Leo didn't wait. He turned and bolted. I heard him slam the front door. I heard his footsteps pounding on the porch. "David, please," Elena said, her voice shaking now. It's not what it looks like." "Really?" I asked. I looked at the man in the bed. I looked at the wine. I looked at the detox she'd been having. Because it looks like 17 years of marriage and 2 children weren't enough for you. Marcus started to say something. "Look, man." I pointed a finger at him. My hand was shaking with a rage, so pure it felt like electricity. "If you speak," I said, "I will not be responsible for what happens next. Get out." He didn't argue. He grabbed his clothes and scrambled into the bathroom. Elena was crying now, big fat tears rolling down her cheeks. I was confused, David. The pressure, the stress. "Don't," I said. "Don't you dare blame the stress. You lied. You looked me in the eye. You kissed me, and you lied to me. You lied to Maya. You lied to Leo." "Where is Maya?" she asked, her voice small. "She's in the car," I said, waiting for the big surprise, waiting to see her mom because she missed her so much. The weight of that, it seemed to finally hit her. She slumped back against the headboard, her face buried in her hands. I didn't stay to hear her excuses. I couldn't breathe that medicinal mountain air for one more second. I walked out. I walked past the silver Audi. I walked to our car. Maya was sitting in the back seat, her face pressed against the glass. "Where's Mom?" she asked, her voice full of hope. "Is she coming out?" Leo was in the passenger seat. He was staring straight ahead, his jaw clenched so tight I thought it might snap. He didn't look at me. He didn't look at his sister. Mom has some things to finish up here, Maya," I said. I started the engine. My hands were trembling on the steering wheel. "We're going home." "But the picnic," Maya protested. "The lilies." "We're going home, Maya," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. She went quiet. She knew. She could feel the vibration of the disaster, even if she didn't understand the shape of it. The drive home was 3 hours of hell. The silence in the car was absolute. It was a physical weight pressing down on us. Every now and then, I'd hear a small, muffled sob from the back seat. Maya crying because her surprise was ruined. And Leo just stared. I don't think he blinked for the first 100 miles. I kept thinking about the foundations, the sturdy beams. I kept thinking, where did I miss the rot? How long had it been there? Was it 3 months? 3 years? Was our whole life just a facade I'd been maintaining while she was quietly tearing it down? When we finally pulled into our driveway, it was nearly midnight. Go inside, guys, I said. Go to bed. We'll talk in the morning. Maya scrambled out, running for the front door. Leo lingered. He stood by the passenger side, looking at me. You're not going back there, are you? He asked. No, Leo, I said. I'm not. He nodded once. Good. That night, I sat in the dark living room. I didn't sleep. I just watched the clock. Tick, tick, his tick. At 3 in the morning, her SUV pulled into the driveway. I didn't move. I heard the front door open. I heard her quiet footsteps. She walked into the living room and saw me sitting there. She didn't turn on the lights. She just stood in the shadows. David, she whispered. The guest room is made up, I said. Take your things. In the morning, you're going to sit down with Leo, and you're going to tell him the truth. Not some watered-down version. The truth. He's 17, David, she sobbed. It will break him. He's already broken Elena, I said. He saw you. You broke him the second you let that man into that cabin. The next week was a blur of lawyers and tears and whispered conversations. The hardest part wasn't the paperwork. It wasn't the division of assets. It was Maya. How do you tell a 12-year-old girl that the mother she idolizes is a stranger? How do you explain that the family she felt safe in is gone? We sat her down on Sunday afternoon. Elena tried to do the it's not you, it's us speech. She tried to make it sound like a disagreement. Leo interrupted her. Tell her what happened, Mom, he said, his voice cold and hard. Tell her why we went to the mountains and why we came home in the dark. Elena looked at him, and I saw the shame, the raw, naked shame in her eyes. She couldn't do it. She couldn't look her daughter in the eye and admit what she'd done. So I did it. I kept it simple. I didn't use the word cheating right away. I told her that Mom had made some choices that hurt our family. I told her that we couldn't be together anymore because trust, once it's gone, it's like a house with a collapsed roof. You can't live in it anymore. Maya cried for 3 days. She didn't want to go to school. She didn't want to eat. She just wanted to go back to Thursday before the lilies, before the thunderbolt. I did too. But there is no going back. It's been 6 months now. Elena lives in a condo 10 miles away. She sees the kids on weekends, but it's strained. Leo barely speaks to her. He's become quiet, focused, a man-child who looks at the world with a suspicion I hate. But I can't fix. Maya is getting better. She has a therapist now, a nice woman named Sarah, who helps her navigate the new normal. And me? I'm still a contractor. I still build things. But I've learned something. Something I wish I didn't know. You can build the strongest house in the world. You can use the finest materials and the best techniques. You can check the levels and double bolt the doors. But if the person inside, the person who is supposed to keep the fire going, if they decide to set a match to the curtains, the house is going to burn. And all you can possibly do, is grab your children and walk out into the cold and wait for the sun to come up. Because it will come up. It's not as bright as it used to be. The shadows are a little longer now, but we're breathing. And for now, in this new quiet house, that has to be enough.